Hey everyone, in this lesson we're going to learn how to convert from degrees to radians and also from radians to degrees. So that's our objective for today. All right, so to convert from degrees to radians, what we're going to do is we are going to take our degree and we're going to multiply it by pi over 180. You can also think about this as dividing your degree by 180 and then placing a pi next to it. But you're also going to need to simplify if you just do it that way. So to go in the opposite direction from radians to degrees, you're going to take your radian and multiply by 180 over pi. Or you can multiply the radian by 180 and take away the pi. That's essentially what's going to happen. So let's look at some examples from degrees to radians. So we're going to take 240 degrees and we are going to multiply that by pi over 180. All right, and so when you look at the 240 and the 180, all right, you should notice that they are both divisible by 60. Okay, so when you divide 240 by 60, you get 4. When you divide 180 by 60, you get 3. So what I'm really doing is I'm reducing the fraction of 240 over 180. All right, so in the end, my radian form is 4 pi over 3. For 210, so I'm going to do the exact same thing. So 210 degrees times pi over 180. Um, both 210 and 180 are divisible by 30. So this is going to become a 7 and this is going to become a 6. So your final is going to be 7 pi over 6. For 300, all right, you got your 300 right here. And we're multiplying by pi over 180. Okay, so when you think about 300 and you think about 80, not 80, but 180. All right, you should note that both of those are divisible by 30. Okay, um, but even better, they're both divisible actually by 60, so we can go a little bit higher there. So when you divide by 60 here, you're left with 5. When you divide by 60 here, you're left with 3. So the final is 5 pi over 3. And then for 60 degrees, 60 times pi over 180. Both 60 and 180 are divisible by 60. So you're actually just left with pi over 3. So let's go in the opposite direction. We're going to go from radians to degrees. All right, so we are going to multiply by 180 over pi. All right, and when we do that, you'll notice that the pi's, they cancel each other because you have one in the numerator and one in the denominator. And then 180 over 9, that actually is perfectly divisible. Both are divisible by 9. That's going to leave you just with 20 over 1, or 20 degrees. Okay, so for the next one, again, we're multiplying by 180 over pi because we're going from radians to degrees. So the pi's are going to cancel, and then the 3 and the 180 are both divisible by 3. So my numerator just becomes 5 times 60, which is 300, so 300 degrees. All right, we're going to multiply by 180 over pi for this 5 pi over 2. The pi's are going to cancel. 180 is divisible by 2. You can use the 90. And 5 times 90 is 450 degrees. All right, and then our final one for this type. Okay, so again, we're just multiplying by 180 over pi. All right, the pi's cancel. And then 180 is divisible by 4. So we're left with 45. So my numerator becomes 3 times 45, which is 135 degrees. The last part of these notes is basically being able to convert from your radians to your decimals. So in order to do this, you literally just punch it into your calculator. So we're going to just punch these into our calculator. We're not going to use 3.14 for pi. We're going to actually use the pi button. Okay, so there is a difference. All right, and we're going to round to 3 decimal places. So if you punch into your calculator pi divided by 6 and round to the nearest 3 decimal places, you should get 0.524 radians. But we're going to just use RAD for radians. For 5 pi over 3, when you punch that into your calculator, you're going to get 5.236 radians. And for 11 pi over 2, you're going to get 2.88 radians. You could put a 0 there if you really want to make it 3 decimal places, um, because you end up with like a 7, 9, 8 scenario, and the 8 bumps the 9, which bumps the 7. And that's converting. So come to class with questions.